Welcome back. The President's management agenda includes a priority pillar for customer experience. Federal technology leaders say their agencies are leaning on them to improve the infrastructures that deliver those experiences. Matt Mandrgoc is head of U.S. Public Sector for Zoom. Matt, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. What are you seeing agencies dealing with? What do they have to do in order to deliver on the infrastructure needs that I just talked about to fulfill the vision of the PMA for customer experience?
Francis, one of the biggest challenges we're seeing across the federal government right now are challenges around legacy systems and forced technologies that don't scale, are hard to use, or have implementation or additional cost associated with that. It actually hampers innovation and actually productivity and drives up a higher total cost of ownership.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing customers who are actually want to go out and implement what does it mean to the customer and employee experience, but also digital inclusivity. Some examples I'll give you. We had one high impact service provider who actually implemented in a low bandwidth environment a major program, getting out to all those individuals and sharing with them the program that impacted their livelihood. With that, it was very impactful around the fact that they would have digital inclusivity around that low bandwidth environment. We had another customer who implemented a virtual recruiting platform of ours, and they were able to recruit a number of people all over the country. We're able to take those individuals, strong candidates, implement them into a breakout room, walk them through what it would be to onboard. There's a great example of where they were able to actually have employees bring in the government employees of the future. And then we also have an agency who went out and actually did self-provisioning. So what they did was they took a manual process and they went across and they took our Zoom for Government platform for phone, implemented it into a ServiceNow environment where they're able to self-provision. In this automation and integration, it actually helped the employee experience onboarding people quicker, but also took away an IT burden that they were faced with on that side.
What are some of the challenges that you see agencies having grafting that kind of technology into a legacy environment like you alluded to at the beginning of this conversation?
For instance, they really have to take a look at the why. Why are they implementing this technology? So many times when I mention legacy and forced technology, people put things in place, but there's no rhyme or reason why they're putting that in place just to replace something. They have to step back into the why. What is the employee experience? What is the customer experience they're working with? And in that, they're able to actually create the next level of what that experience is going to look like for their customers or their employees.
It sounds like strategy is as important as tactics from the way that you're describing it. Thinking about what you want to get to is as important, or maybe more important, than the steps that one needs to take to get there.
Correct.
Fair read on my part?
Exactly. A like for like is just not the way it goes, because it doesn't really add into anything that you're going to do to take it to the next level for the customer experience. As you know, from the presidential mandate, how do you create a higher level experience for those individuals? And if you look at this at another level, accessibility is such a huge component of what they're doing across the government. So accessibility, being able to have such things as we've done in our platform, being able to have language interpretation, sign language, translation captions in courts, all of these things around accessibility within these platforms to create the customer experience, not only for the customer, but also for employees as well.
And you mentioned employees, and that's where I wanted to go next. A lot of discussion in the federal government now about employee experience and customer experience and how closely they're aligned, how one influences the other. Is there a difference in the way that you've seen agencies approach employee experience versus customer experience? And should there be a difference in the way that somebody approaches both of those two issues?
Yeah, there really should never be a difference. If you think about that, there's so many times people go, well, we use this internally, but we're going to use this for everyone else because we want to look good. Well, why should those employees not have the same experience that a customer has? So we have to look at, as a government, where we have to implement different types of solutions that actually can support not only the customer experience, but give employees that same experience. Again, impacts and hampers productivity and innovation with those employees. And again, everybody's looking at that next level of where they have productivity to the next level. How do we create and pull the technologies in to help these employees be productive, whether they're in a hybrid environment, anywhere they are?
We have about 30 seconds left. What is the best way for somebody to track this to make sure that they're making the gains that they want to make in the areas that you've talked about with me today, Matt?
You have to look at surveys. It's not just a matter of what you put out in technology. You have to survey the employees. You have to survey customers, get feedback from them, understand what they do, how they do their job. As I mentioned earlier on, it's the why. Why are you doing something? How are you doing this? And then be able to take those whys and how they do things and implement the technology, which will allow them to actually take it to the next level. And then, again, it's important because you're recruiting the next level of government employees for the future. You want to provide that same instance that you would in an industry as well.
Matt, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, Francis.